Edmund Ironside. The worst royal death that will haunt you every time you sit on the toilet belongs to Edmund Ironside. Edmund Ironside ascended the throne after his father's death. They called him Ironside for his strength and resilience in battle. Finally, the throne is mine. Your Majesty, we're under attack. Perfect, I barely had time to sit down. Now I've got to stand up. His ascension gave hope. In late 1016, England was torn between two rival kings. Edmund Ironside, the valiant Saxon defender of Wessex, and Not the Great, a Danish prince leading a Viking invasion. After months of brutal fighting, the two agreed to divide the kingdom. Edmund would rule Wessex in the south and Not would take the north. But peace didn't last. On November 30, 1016, Edmund got up and used a privy in the night while staying in Oxford. At this point in history, a privy fit for a royal was nothing more than a wooden seat over a pit. Unknown to him, an assassin was hiding beneath it. The killer had crawled down into the cesspit and waited in the dark, blade in hand. Some sources named the assassin as the son of Adrix Rayona. Finally, a moment of peace. No armies, no betrayal, just me. And this beautiful hole in the ground. He slowly lowers himself onto the seat. I swear if anyone tries to kill me while I'm doing this. Stab! Oh, come on! Really? Sire, is everything alright? He collapsed dramatically. I just want to sit! Edmund died from his wounds. With Edmund gone, Snute seized full control of England, marking the end of a Saxon resistance and the beginning of Danish rule. Henry VIII. Henry VIII, England's heavyweight monarch, known for 6 wives, went out just as dramatically as he lived. And I will always love you. You, and you. Henry VIII wasn't a wealthy dude to begin with, and after a jousting accident where his legs were crushed by horses, he really began to deteriorate. In his final years, Henry's body became a royal disaster zone. After a brutal jousting accident crushed his leg, he developed chronic ulcers that leaked constantly and smelled like death warmed over. He stopped moving much, kept eating like a banquet was always underway, and ballooned to 300 pounds. Your Majesty, I have good news and bad news. Wait, did you say good news and great news? No, sire. I said good news and very bad news. You're suffering from gout, heart failure, and late-stage syphilis. Also, your mind may be a little scrambled. What's the good news? Do you have a cure? Please say you have a cure. Even better, sire. I have a roast duck. Yay! In 1547, he died aged 55 at Whitehall Palace. His embalmers tried to keep things classy. They packed his body with sawdust and herbs, stuffed him in a lead coffin, and set off a grand funeral procession to Windsor. At a stopover at Sion Abbey, gas built up inside his enormous decomposing body until it couldn't hold anymore. The coffin literally exploded right there in the abbey. Witnesses claimed that dogs rushed in and licked up what spilled out. Yup, that happened. Afterward, the servant hammered the coffin shut, eyes forward, and kept marching to Windsor like nothing went wrong. Today, Henry lies beneath St. George's Chapel, buried under a plain marble slab. No golden tomb, no massive statue, just the weight of silence. And hey, at least the coffin hasn't blown up again. Number 2. William I, 1028 to 1087. But William the Conqueror, he exploded before he even made it underground. Let's rewind to 1018. In Rouen, France, William I, also known as William the Conqueror, the guy who steamrolled England in 1066. He was riding his horse into battle when the pommel of the saddle jammed into his abdomen. William. I'm William the Conqueror. I steamrolled England. I feared nothing. I'm gonna kill you all. I'm stuck. It didn't look too bad at first, but inside, something tore. Likely his intestines or internal organs. Over the next few days, infection spread, his inside festered. Doctor, am I gonna make it? Shh, I'm on page 132. Rub with honey, rosemary, and vinegar. What? Relax, sire. I'm applying a honey and vinegar poultice. With a touch of garlic aioli. Perfect. By the end, he resembled a medieval roast packed with herbs. Inside, tissues began to rot and gas built up, slowly turning him into a walking pressure cook of decay. He wasn't just dying, he was fermenting like a royal wine barrel. William the Conqueror died on the 9th of September, 1087, about 6 weeks after the accident. Turns out, William had been a pretty awful dad and king, paranoid, cruel, and always ready to set something on fire, so his kids left him to rot. Eventually, the church intervened, transporting his corpse to the church of St. Etienne in Caen. As per William's wishes, after sitting for over a week in the heat, his corpse swelled further. When monks tried lowering him into the stone sarcophagus, he didn't fit. Billy, hurry up, he's starting to drip. I think we need a bigger tomb, or a smaller king. What? Or we roll him down the hill and call it a Viking funeral. If you say Valhalla one more time, I'm converting to Islam. So they pushed, and then pop. The king's abdomen burst, spraying putrid fluids and noxious gas throughout the church. Witnesses fled gagging amid a cloud of royal rot. That wasn't a burial. It was a biological bombshell. It was possibly the most undignified funeral in medieval history. But you'll be more surprised to know that one of the worst royal deaths came from a loaf of bread. This is King John. You may ask, wait, is that the whiny little creep from Robin Hood? Yep, same guy. Somehow worse. King John was possibly the most hated king in England history. His reign was a mess of lost war, overtaxed, angry barons, church feuds, and national starvation. By 1216, John was on the run, dragging the scraps of his army through flooded roads and enemy territory. He stopped at Swineshead Abbey to rest, which would become his final mistake. At dinner, "Hey monk, how much does bread cost?" "2 pence, your majesty." "Ha! If I were still king, I'd make it 40. That's better." "Better? How? Wait, 40 is bigger than 2, right?" The monk knew it would mean starvation for half the country if King John stayed on the throne, so he supposedly took action. In the garden, the monk found a poisonous toad and squeezed the toad's toxins into a wine glass. Then he drank it himself to make sure the king would follow. The monk passed quickly in the abbey's infirmary. John didn't. Over the next few days, the king's stomach bloated with pain. His bowels turned violent. His attendants tried binding his guts just to hold it together. It was a medieval method where cloth were tightly wrapped around the abdomen to ease swelling and keep the bowels from rupturing outward. It didn't work, of course. John died in October 1216, ripped apart from the inside. His official cause of death, dysentery. But many believe the monk's toad brew gave the disease a helping hand. King Alexander of Greece, deadly monkey business. Following Edmund's ignoble fall, another king met his end in an equally bizarre way. King Alexander of Greece. In 1917, Alexander I was king on paper, but really just a royal houseplant. Exiled from his family, ignored by his court, he clung to the only 2 things that loved him back. Aspasia, the commoner he married in secret, and Fritz, his fiercely loyal German shepherd. On October 2, 1920, Alexander walked through the palace gardens in Tatoy with Fritz. A macaque belonged to the palace vineyard manager attacked the dog. "Sire, suspicious primate at 3 o'clock. "Ignore him, Fritz. We're just out for air." "This garden is mine! Mutt!" "Permission to maul, sire." "Granted." "I shall defend my dog." Alexander didn't hesitate. He leaped into battle to save his dog. "Woo! Monkey battle royale!" A second macaque jumped in and sank its teeth into the king's leg and stomach, delivering deep infected bites. Alexander was treated immediately, but early 20th century medicine had limits. Over the next 3 weeks, Alexander developed a high fever and severe sepsis. Doctors considered amputation. No one dared perform it. By the time his grandmother, Queen Olga, arrived, Alexander had died at age 27 after 23 days of agony. In the end, it wasn't treason or tyranny that killed him. It was loyalty to a dog, and 2 monkeys with very sharp opinion. Number 6. Pyrrhus of Epirus. Pyrrhus of Epirus, legendary warrior king, war elephant enthusiast, and proud owner of the world's most ironic win-loss record. "I have crushed Rome beneath my heel." But at what cost? Dead friends. Everyone. Pyrrhus was a battle prodigy, leading armies across Italy, Sicily, and Greece, defeating foes 10 times his size. But every time he won, he lost half his army. Literally. That's why we still say Pyrrhic victory. Because you can win the battle and lose everything else, including your future. In 272 BC, while fighting a street battle in Argos, Pyrrhus stormed an alley. He fought with fury, cutting down anyone who stood in his path. Then he reached the doorway, where a young soldier tried to stop him. Pyrrhus didn't hesitate. He drove his spear through the boy's chest and stepped over the body, never breaking stride. An old lady watching from a rooftop saw him attacking her son, so she picked up a roof tile and dropped it to his royal head. "Who throws a roof tile? Who spears my boy, you clown?" The tile cracked his skull. He stopped mid-step. His sword slipped from his hand. Blood ran down his temple. Before he could react, one of the enemy soldiers rushed forward and drove a spear straight into his chest. And that was it. Just like that, the man who outmaneuvered empires was outmaneuvered by physics and one ticked-off mother. And that's why you never fight under balconies. So that's it. If you want more weird, wild stories from history, don't forget to subscribe. All from history enough. And hey, if you had to be one of them, which poor soul would you be? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.